Let's be real. We've all been there. You've got this mountain of articles to read, a huge list of videos to watch, and a bunch of reports to get through. But where's the time? So what if you could take that overwhelming flood of information and turn it into a learning process that's actually, efficient? Well, today we're going to walk through a really powerful workflow that does exactly that.
Okay, so first, let's just set the stage a little. We are living in an age of just endless content, right? You've got newsletters, research papers, tech blogs, YouTube videos. The stream of valuable stuff is just constant. The problem isn't that there's a lack of good material out there, it's that we have a fundamental lack of time to really engage with it all in a meaningful way.
I want you to just picture it for a second. That folder on your desktop with all the saved articles, that long list of bookmarked videos, that pile of PDFs, does it feel like it just keeps growing and growing no matter what you do? If you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone. This is the big pain point for pretty much everyone trying to learn anything today.
And this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling of frustration. It's something we all feel when we're trying to stay informed or pick up a new skill. It feels like no matter how much we plan, we just can't get ahead. But here's the thing. What if the solution has nothing to do with finding more hours in the day?
This is where things get interesting. We're going to pivot from the problem to a really powerful solution. And it's not about some magic trick or a crazy time management hack. It's about adopting a more deliberate, more structured process for how we take in information to begin with.
So the key here is to just stop trying to cram more stuff into our already packed schedules. Instead, we need to change the method we use to learn. A smarter process can turn that downtime, your commute, doing chores, into your most productive learning hours of the day, all without adding a single drop of stress to your calendar.
The process we're going to dive into is called a multi-layered workflow. Think of it like this. Instead of trying to read a super dense article or watch a long video all in one sitting, you break it down into a series of separate, totally manageable learning experiences. Each layer builds on the one before it, taking you from a quick, high-level summary all the way to a deep, connected understanding of the topic.
So, how does this thing actually work in practice? Well, it all breaks down into 3 simple but seriously powerful steps. This is really the heart of the system, the part that turns you from a passive consumer into an active learner.
Here they are, the 3 steps. First, you watch a short visual summary to get the big picture, just the highlights. Second, you listen to a much more in-depth audio overview. And what's really cool about this part is that it's not just one monotone voice droning on. It's a conversation between 2 different AI voices, which makes it feel way more engaging. And then finally, you explore the connections between all the ideas using an interactive map. Now, this is where the magic really happens, because each step is designed for a specific purpose. Watching that quick video summary first is like building a mental scaffold. It primes your brain with all the main concepts. Then, listening to the audio deep dive starts to fill in that scaffold with all the details and nuance. And finally, exploring the mind map lets you really start to play with the ideas, pulling on different threads, asking questions, and building knowledge that actually lasts. It's a pretty beautifully designed sequence.
And all of this builds up to the ultimate payoff, which is completely changing your relationship with information. This whole workflow is designed to shift you from being a passive person who just receives information to someone who is an active explorer of ideas.
And this chart really shows the difference. The old way is just passive listening, where information comes in one ear and, let's be honest, often goes out the other. It's easily forgotten. The whole point of this new workflow is to get you into active exploration, where you're questioning things, diving into connections, and building knowledge that actually sticks. It's the difference between just hearing something and truly getting it.
Someone who uses this system summed it up perfectly. They said it's like having a full-time research admin who is just focused on one single topic for you. And that's so true. When the sources are broken down for you into these different formats, it really does feel like you have a personal research assistant working 24/7 just to help you learn.
Let's just circle back for a second to that number 2, for the 2 voices in the audio summary. There's a really fascinating reason this is so effective. A single voice, a monologue, can be super easy to tune out. But a dialogue, a conversation, forces your brain to stay active. You're tracking the back and forth, listening to different points. It mimics a real conversation, which makes complex ideas so much easier to process and way more memorable.
So, who can actually use this? Well, the applications are huge. Students could use it to turn their dense lecture notes into easy-to-digest study guides for exams. Professionals could use it to pull out the key insights from those super long industry reports. But honestly, It's for anyone who wants to turn that downtime, driving, cooking, working out, into really productive, focused learning time.
So as we start to wrap this up, I want to challenge you to think about your own information diet. Are you being intentional about how you learn, or are you just kind of letting that endless stream of content wash over you? A structured workflow like this can change everything. The whole goal here is to get away from that anxiety of just endlessly and passively consuming stuff. It's all about building a system for intentional understanding, where every single piece of content you choose to engage with actually contributes to real, lasting knowledge.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Now that you have this idea of a multi-layered workflow, what's one small change you could make to start moving from being a passive consumer to becoming an active explorer? How are you going to transform your information diet